everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me in this live section. Guys, if you're new to this channel, do well to hit that subscribe button, like and share this video. So once again, Kemi Badenoch has blast Nigerian government again. She has said, in fact, criticized Nigerian government again. I'm going to be telling you everything she said, even play for you guys a video of where Kemi Badenoch said a lot of things, even shared her secondary school days in Nigeria, calling it a prison. She said that secondary school days in Nigeria was a prison. Guys, I'm going to play that video for you guys to watch. So stay with me to hear everything Kemi Badenoch said, even how police stole her brother's watch. Guys, it was really would like to say it was really a sad one. Guys, she exposed everything going on in Nigeria, which I'm going to tell you guys. So stay with me as I have a lot to tell you guys. So Kemi Badenoch, she has come out again saying that Nigerian governments are, they are criminals, and she said a lot of things. In fact, let me just explain to you, in case you don't know who Kemi Badenoch is. She was born in London in 1980. Kemi Badenoch spent her formative years in Nigeria and the United States. She returned to the UK at age of 16, reportedly with her father's last €100. In fact, Kemi Badenoch explained how her father went to she was born in UK, like I said, London, and then she spent some years in Nigeria, from childhood and everything, and then she went back to Europe with her father's last €100. She studied systems engineering, worked in IT, finance, and journalism, and steadily rose through the ranks of UK politics to become one of the most powerful Black women in Britain, now holding key positions in the Conservative Party. Now, yet despite her Nigerian upbringing and her previous open appeals to the Nigerian community for vote, she had increasingly distanced herself from her Nigerian identity, even declaring that she's no longer an identity of Nigeria. In fact, she said she's no longer identified as Nigerian. Despite all this that happened, she have said that she's no longer a Nigerian citizen. In fact, this statement alone, why deeply personal and became politically charged when you explore the pattern of how she invokes or disown her heritage. So Kemi Badenoch has recently come out to disown her heritage, and then many Nigerians have also reacted. In this live section, you'll be seeing some reactions coming from Nigerians. Yes, El Rufai of Arise TV said something about Kemi Badenoch. Let me now tell you, it's not everybody that like her though, but me, I like her because she said the thing the way it is. She doesn't sugarcoat anything. Everything Kemi Badenoch has been saying is true, and we don't have to just hide the truth. We have to come out and say it's the way it is also. So people that don't like her, people that don't like the truth. Yes, Nigerian government don't like Kemi Badenoch because she has been saying the truth all this while. And anybody that doesn't like anybody that says the truth is an enemy of Nigeria. That is justice. So in recent viral clip, Kemi Badenoch described her federal government girls' college school. She called it a prison. She said she schooled in prison for so many years. She said she used machetes to cut grass. She fetched water in bucket. Who else would cut the grass? Let me show you a video, so that you understand everything Kemi Badenoch said. She said a lot of things. Take a look at this video.
I went to a secondary school. It was called a federal government girls' school in a place called Shagamu. And that was like being in prison. When I tell the stories about using a machete and having, because I know lawnmowers, that's the place that I'm talking about, having to fetch buckets of water. And that was the first time that I was away from home, away from my family. And I wasn't just looking at...
This is a boarding school?
Yes, it's a federal boarding school. And it was very...
You shared a dormitory with other girls?
Yes, we're about 150, I think. 20 to 30 in a room, and there were 6 rooms.
And so the machete is for cutting the grass?
Yes, cutting the grass.
Explain why were you cutting the grass?
Well, because who else is going to cut the grass? It's just, it's the
grass grows and you have machetes to cut it.
Exactly. They're not, this is a federal school where this is the old grammar school system sort of fading out, and everyone who passed an exam and got a certain score got to go to a federal school, and this was more socialism. So they sprinkled people around. They didn't want one school getting all the best results. They would mix people about, so you could end up getting sent thousands of miles away to a boarding school, at the extreme end of the country. So I was lucky. I didn't get sent too far away, but I was very far from home. I'd never been away from home before. And it was like Lord of the Flies. You know, the students were in control. We needed to look after the school ground. So using a machete, having to clean toilets with no running water. I'm not going to go into the description of that, but it is very, very, very grotty.
So guys, so Kemi Badenoch shared a story, her experience, growing up in Nigeria, and then the school she attended, the way she used machete to cut grass, I'm going to still continue that video, so stay with me. I have a lot. In fact, Kemi Badenoch said a lot of things, shared many experience of how police stole her brother's shoe, and then El Rufai of Arise TV reacted to it, calling, in fact, she said that Kemi Badenoch, what she's doing is bad. But me, I feel that she's actually saying the truth. Yes, why will a police steal her brother's shoe and watch? Why? That's that she said, just calm down, stay with me. I have a lot to show you guys. So in this video, Kemi Badenoch shared how she grew up in Nigeria and how she cuts grass with machete. In fact, she called the whole experience, she said she schooled in a prison where students carry cut grass and everything. So now the truth is that Kemi Badenoch is repackaging cultural experience into narrative of suffering. Yes, she's trying to say that Nigerian students suffer in Nigeria as a student, which is not supposed to be so, because in her school days she suffered. In fact, she called it a prison. So now she's trying to repackage the cultural experience into narrative of suffering, likely to appeal to Western audience that favor stories of escape from the dark continent, but in doing so, she alienates the millions who shared that same experience with a different perspective, one of pride, not shame. So now, another thing that Kemi Badenoch said that shocked Nigerians, even Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, was that she said by identity, she said, by identity, I'm not really Nigerian. That was what Kemi Badenoch said. It shocked everyone. She said, by identity, on the Rosebud podcast of Kemi Badenoch, she said, by identity, I'm not really Nigerian. This is her, like, how will I put it, disowning her own heritage, her own roots, where she's from. I haven't renewed my passport in 20 years. That's what she said. Now, this revelation sparked widespread anger. Yes. And here's why. Identity isn't just about personal feelings, especially when you weaponize your disassociation to criticize the very people and culture you once aligned with. Now, in 2010, during her first UK Parliament campaign, she sent emails to Nigerian communities saying, support a Nigerian candidate. We can change our image. We can do great things. So in 2010, she was Nigerian, but in 2025, as she eyes the highest office in Britain, Nigeria suddenly became a political liability, a scarlet letter she must burn off to appeal to right-wing nationalists. Now, that is not just identity crisis, that is opportunism. Now, I want to let you know that, Kemi Badenoch, she actually, when she wanted to, hold some offices in UK, she sent an email to Nigerian government telling Nigerian government to support her. She was begging for votes. Now, she now said that she has not renewed her passports in 20 years, that she's not identified as a Nigerian because of, what is going on in Nigeria here. She said she's tired and silly of hearing the things going on in Nigeria here, that she just wants people to come and help Nigerians here to survive. That is just it. According to her, she said that her children can't get Nigerian passports because she's a woman. That was what she said. She said Nigerian can't get, she said she's sick and tired of reading that Nigerians are fraudsters or terrorists. She said, support a Nigerian who will change our national image. That was what Kemi Badenoch said. This is where her credibility begins to unravel. Because when she needed Nigerian votes, she wrapped herself in a green, white, green flag. She created a Nigerian for Kemi. Now, let me now tell you something. Anyways, before I say what I want to say, take a look at her interview and the reaction coming from Nigerians. El Rufai actually responded to her and he said a lot of things. Take a look at her interview first. Take a look.
Use them to try and destroy us.
Do you trust the British police?
I do. But Remember my experience with the police in Nigeria was very negative. And coming to the UK, my first experience with the police was very positive. The police in Nigeria would rob us. So when people say, "Oh, I had this bad experience with the police because I'm black and they're white," I was like, "Well, I remember the police stole my brother's shoes and his watch."
His shoes?
Yeah, they took his shoes and his watch. It's a very poor country, so people do all sorts of things, and giving people a gun is just a license to intimidate. But that's not the bar we should use for British police. Obviously, it should be much higher. But my experience was so positive. When I was burgled, for example, the police were there, very helpful. They eventually caught the person. This is 2004, so 20 years ago. The police did catch criminals, and now we've given them too much to do, in my view. So the police are the first line of defense for everything. And I think that burden makes it a lot harder for them to actually do the basics. And that's another thing that we need to.
Come back to this video. This video she was explaining how Nigerian policemen stole her brother's shoe and watches. Imagine policemen. Like, I didn't know, will you call them policemen or even criminals? Now take a look at what somebody said. This person said, Nigeria, so much oil. Yes, I won't doubt that. Nigeria has so much oil. They are rich. So, and still they have so much poor people. Shame to Africa's biggest corrupt people in the world. Honestly, we are tired of this country. Imagine with the oil we have in this country, we still have so much poor people in this country. Now, one thing is that the people I'm going to play you a reaction coming from Nigerians. El-Rufai of Arise TV. He said many things concerning Kemi Badenoch. Now, let me tell you that people don't like this woman. People like her. People don't like her because people don't like hearing the truth. As for me, I love Kemi Badenoch because she says things the way it is. She doesn't sugarcoat. Yes, she says things the way it is. Now, take a look at the reaction coming from El-Rufai of Arise TV, where he actually condemned Kemi Badenoch for saying that, that she's not a Nigerian citizen again. Take a look.
A lot of Nigerians are ignorant of what Kemi is doing. What is Kemi doing? Kemi is subjugating her own people to make Britain look good in the face of white nationalists. It's a deliberate attempt. These white nationalists believed in colonialism. They believed that black people are subservient to them. These were the same people that sold black people in slave markets. So these white nationalists have a mentality. Kemi feeds into the mentality by doing something called confirmation bias, that the black people you subjugated over the years remain down. So it's good for her to say these things bad about her country, so that the white nationalists and the supremacists she's trying to incur her to get their votes will continue to support her. And you know why she's doing that? Because she's also in a race with Nigel Farage of Reform Party to show who is more very right-wing and hardline. That's the game she's playing. When she wanted Nigerians' vote in Dulwich, she reached out to the Nigerian people, but it's a political game she plays. So most of the percentage of Nigerian people that comment on this matter don't know what she's doing, and I'm trying to be able to bring it to the fore. And that's why she will make lies part of her statement. Things like, colonialism, I think she said one thing, we should even thank the British for colonialism or something. They should not pay reparation. I think she said that part of the
I remember some statements about reparation.
Yeah, she said the British should not pay reparation. After even the British themselves have accepted, because it's a thing among the white.
I think it was for what
right-wing nationalists want. They don't want to pay reparation. They think it's a good thing. And that's why a girl that lived in VI, a woman that grew up in VI, will be citing all sorts of instances. Like, we don't get knifed in the UK. There are places I can't go in the UK, Peckham. I know a lot of people there, but Aomo, Mamasha, the Sale, the Peckham. See, you will get knifed, Oji. The insecurity is crazy. The UK police she's talking about was not the UK police officer that raped somebody. What she will have said was to address the case of the UK police officer rather than coming back to the Nigerian police. I'm not saying, please, and you see the delusion a lot of people also have is, they get me wrong. They say, is Kemi not saying the truth? Yeah, the things are the truth. I'm not saying you don't speak the truth, but situate it properly. That's what Kemi is not doing. Secondly, she made another fallacy by saying she doesn't have anything in common with the North. She's a lying person. She lies too much. Go and check. Dr. Bati, you know a lot about languages. Are we now in the same Kwa language group? The Benue Congo Kwa language group? So according to language and language classification, you have something in common with them. Secondly, she also made another fallacy by saying, no, you can't say, okay, I'm directly Yoruba and not wanting to identify with Nigeria, because this is the country that birthed you. Secondly, she also made another fallacy by saying the people of the North are our ethnic enemies. They are never our ethnic enemies. We don't have any ethnic enemies in this country. You might have disagreements with people from other parts of the country, even with your fellow Yorubas, but it doesn't mean you're ethnic enemies. Because, and that's why I think the Nigerian government should write the British government about Kemi Badenoch. It is messages like this that spur irredentist and divisive nature.
Yes.
People like Lagospedia, these are the ones carrying this mantra.
Yeah.
And they are spewing like happened in the last election. Because when you start to say things like this, you forget this was the same narrative they were spewing in the 60s during the Civil War, when the October massacre happened, when people were killed in Kano. This was the same narrative.
Right.
So that's incitement, and that's what we should write about. And lastly, please, nobody's saying Kemi should not point out our experiences, but we are saying situate it properly. Every nation in the world, if I'm to also write my experience about the UK, it's not that good. But she's not situating it properly because she wants to say these things to make the right-wing people love and support her for election gains.
All right.
It's not my business if Kemi becomes prime minister or not. Agula Agutete, she will do a tenure or two and leave there in the end. But it's the damage she will have given and the emboldenment, the way she will have emboldened.
So guys, I'll continue that video. So what do you think, concerning what El-Rufai said about Kemi Badenoch, about her, trying to disown where she's coming from, a country that bettered her, because you know that Kemi Badenoch recently said that she's not identified as a Nigerian again because of what is happening in Nigeria. In fact, she said she has not renewed her passport for over 20 years now. In fact, she doesn't hold a valid Nigerian passport. And then concerning what she said about policemen stealing her shoes and whatever, in fact, she was talking about her life experience in Nigeria and then comparing it to that of UK. So El-Rufai was like against her. In fact, El-Rufai is against her. But the truth is, Kemi Badenoch, you cannot just compare Nigeria and UK. It's not possible because UK is far better than Nigeria. But for me, I feel Kemi Badenoch saying disowning where she's coming from, saying that she's not identified when she's a Nigerian, she's a Yoruba, she's coming from the Yoruba, tribe. For her to come out and say that she's not a Nigerian, in fact, she has disowned her country. I think that's where she's like getting it all wrong. Yes, I know that Nigeria is not a good place to stay, but at least you're taking it too far by disowning your country. What do you think about that? Despite everything going on in Nigeria, the insecurity, everybody knows that it's worse because it's too much. It's too much for people to bear. But does it will you go ahead to this if you're an American and your country is in fact boiling? There's no food, people are dying every time, and the government is not doing anything about it. Will you disown the fact that you're from American and then praise another country? What do you do? Let me know. Let me know what you think under the comment section. Drop a comment below. So now, Kemi Badenoch is not even lying about everything happening in this country. She's not lying. That's one thing I know. She doesn't lie about anything happening. She doesn't sugarcoat what. That's why I like her. And I know that you should know that some people actually like her because, some people don't like her because she says the truth. Yes. So Kemi Badenoch is not lying about everything that is happening. The tragedy is that in fact, El-Rufai said that why she's saying this thing about Nigeria, or why she's saying this thing is because of she wants to take an office. Yes, she's contesting, she wants to take an office. That's why she's saying all these things. Let me know your own. Let me drop your own under the comment section. In fact, she even came out one time to say that that she wants to change her name from Kemi. She wants to start answering another name. Hey, it's actually a long story, guys. Just let me know what you think under the comment section by Kemi Badenoch saying that she's not longer in Nigeria. In fact, she's not identified as a Nigerian again because of what is going on in the country. And then if Kemi Badenoch because there was a time that Kemi Badenoch was actually campaigning. So then she sent an email to Nigerian government to vote for her. And then she said that Nigerian government, this is another opportunity for us to fix things in our own country. Wow. Let me just move on. So Kemi Badenoch is not even lying about everything that is happening in this country. The tragedy is that her shit criticism rings true because the Nigerian government has allowed decades of rot to feast her. And then when she talks about police stealing her brother's shoe, that resonates because Nigerian police brutality is real. You see, when Kemi Badenoch talked about police stealing her brother's shoe and and watch, that's people picked out to that point because it's happening. Truly, Nigerian police are, in fact, they are good in brutality. Yes, what led to that end SARS what's led to that end SARS protest has not yet stopped. Yes, police are still doing those things even till now. Now, like I said, when she talked about it, that resonates because Nigerian police brutality is real and successive governments has failed to reform the system. The hashtag End SARS was not a movement born in friction. It was born from state-enabled thuggery in uniform. So when she talks about machetes and water fetching in her school again, that strikes a chord. Why? Because education in Nigeria has been abandoned. Yes, if you go to so many schools in Nigeria, it looks like, where they rear chickens or pig. Public schools are underfunded, teachers are unpaid, very important, and students live in near military conditions. Yet federal and state budget for education are looted without consequences. So now when she, fear, when she say fear was everywhere, we can't deny the reality of the daily kidnapping because Kemi Badenoch said that fear was everywhere. Like she was a student, but she was scared because of the daily kidnapping, the home invasion, and armed robbery. In part because of the Nigerian state has failed to secure even the most basic rights, the life to live without fear. It's the responsibility of the president to protect lives and property, but they have failed in that. Like I said, if you have anything to say, drop it under the comment section. Let's talk about it. Now, somebody said, let's talk about what this person said. This person said his own view concerning Kemi Badenoch, what she said. But before I talk about what this person said, take a look at the podcast, the interview of Kemi Badenoch. Before we talk about what this person said, take a look at the interview of Kemi Badenoch where she, said a lot of things. Take a look.
Use them to try and destroy us.
Do you trust the British police?
I do. But remember my experience with the police in Nigeria was very negative. And coming to the UK, my first experience with the police was very positive. The police in Nigeria would rob us. So when people say, "Oh, I had this bad experience with the police because I'm black and they're white," I was like, "Well, I remember the police stole my brother's shoes and his watch."
His shoes?
Yeah, they took his shoes and his watch. It's a very poor country, so people do all sorts of things, and giving people a gun is just a license to intimidate. But that's not the bar we should use for British police. Obviously, it should be much higher. But my experience was so positive. When I was burgled, for example, the police were there, very helpful. They eventually caught the person. This is 2004, so 20 years ago. The police did catch criminals, and now we've given them too much to do, in my view. So the police are the first line of defense for everything, and I think.
So now let's take a look at what this person said. You've heard what she said. Now take a look at what this person said. He said, I don't believe her. She's just as corrupt in the English politics. It's just that she has not been found out. Whoa, is that what you think? Okay, let me know your own thoughts also. If you want to say anything, drop it under the comment section. Let's talk about it. So let's continue. Like I said, people don't actually like Kemi Badenoch because of what, for me, the fact that she came out. The only place, Kemi Badenoch, actually, there are some things that you hear her say and then you see or find some truth in it, just like what she said about Nigerian police and the kidnappings going on in Nigeria. I actually believe what she's saying because it's happening today. It's a reality today. So now where I see it, what she said, that I'm like, oh, you're actually wrong here, was when she said that she's not identified as a Nigerian citizen again. It's actually, there's actually a problem there. Yes, that's where she got it all wrong. Everybody knows that Nigerian government, in fact, Nigeria is not a good place to stay because of good killings, the daily and everything, the chaos going on here. But that's not enough reason for you to say that you actually disown your own country? What if, tomorrow UK now says every Nigerian must leave? Whether you are a resident, whether you have gotten your green card or you're a resident, everybody must go to your country. What if, that kind of scenario or what that kind of thing happens? Where will Kemi Badenoch go? I know that Kemi Badenoch is a citizen because she was born in the UK. But what if tomorrow, if the system changes that everybody, whether you're Nigerian, go back to your own country? Do you think the Nigerian government will accept Kemi Badenoch? Or do you think, they will just, the way she disowned Nigeria, do you think they will disown her that same way? Let me know your own thoughts under the comment section, because Kemi Badenoch has been coming out to state many things about Nigeria, which I actually agree with her that is true. Yes, it's going on in Nigeria, but for the fact that she came out to disown her country is, where she got it all wrong. Yes, where she got it all wrong. I like her because she says things the way it is. She doesn't sugarcoat work, and she's not even scared to come out, to say things concerning Nigeria. That is why I like her. But for the fact she came out and disowned her own country, that was where she got it all wrong. So now, Kemi Badenoch says that there was fear everywhere in Nigeria. Yes, because of the daily kidnapping, the home invasion, and armed robbery, in parts because the Nigerian state has failed to secure even the most basic rights, the rights, the most basic right, the right to live without fear. Now, somebody said something. Let's look at what this person said. Let's look at. Remember, I said if you have anything to say, do well to drop it under the comment section. So this person says she is right because the law is covered by the government, and she's comfortable where she is, and the law in London are different. Yes, okay. Kemi Badenoch said one certain time. She said that London gave her what Nigeria could not give her. Even when Nigeria was her own country, that London gave her what Nigeria could not, give her. That she talked about her experience in Nigeria, how she watched her father, a millionaire, he just fell from top to bottom. That was what Kemi Badenoch said. And then the father used her last 200 euro to go back to the UK. And then, London, even with their own problem, UK with their own problem, gave her what Nigeria could not give her. And she's comfortable. Even her children, she raised her children in the UK. So now, this person said that she is right because the law is covered by the government, and she's comfortable where she is, and the law in London are different. So this is this person's view. Like I said, drop your thoughts under the comment section. Tell me why you think, or maybe whether you're actually in support of Kemi Badenoch saying that saying that she disowned her own country, Nigeria, because of what is going on here. You guys know what's going on here: the killings, the kidnapping, daily. It happens daily, guys. So the hunger. So she said that she's not recognized or identified as a Nigerian citizen anymore. That for over 20 years now, that she has not held a valid Nigerian passport, meaning that she's not even like thinking of renewing it or even stepping her leg here in Nigeria today. And I'm asking, what if tomorrow, UK government says that every Nigerian, whether you're a citizen, must go back to your country? What will happen? What will happen? Or they say there's nothing like this, or they said that there's nothing like being a citizen of a country by birth again, that everybody should go back to where you originate from. What will happen? Will Nigerian government disown her just the same way she disowned Nigeria? So now let's look at what somebody said. This person is saying that El Rufai should know that Kemi is saying the truth, not like them if we journalists. Yeah, Kemi is saying the truth when it comes to the truth of what is going on here. She's actually saying the truth. Yes, everything she said about what is going on in Nigeria, because I saw someone saying she was saying, I don't know if it's a woman or a man. She said, is what Kemi Badenoch saying about Nigeria true or false? That is a very simple question. The truth is, everything Kemi Badenoch is saying in Nigeria here is true. Like the things that happen, the police brutality, the daily kidnapping, the Boko Haram, is true, it's going on. So that's one thing about Kemi Badenoch. She doesn't sugarcoat word, and then she doesn't hide, or she's always bold. She come out bold to say the truth. She doesn't fear anybody at all. So Kemi Badenoch may exploit this story for political gains, but she didn't invent. Just like Erufai is saying that she's doing all these things for political gain so that she can get votes. But she didn't invent this thing at all. She did not invent it of fake stories. Everything she said is she's saying the truth. That's disowned or dishonor belong, or she says she doesn't belong to Nigeria's leadership class who fly the children. We said the Nigerian government, their children, they fly their children abroad while millions rot in fallen institution. Yes, it's happening. It's not happening today. Look at, if you check schools in the north, if you go to the north, you will not even believe that children, is a children's class. You not believe that children's school under this roof. It looks like where they train fowls. That is it. So if Nigeria were a functional country, Kemi Badenoch comments would be written off as bitterness and would be written off as bitterness. The people will not even listen to her. If Nigeria was a good country, a functional country, and Kemi Badenoch is coming out to talk, people will not even listen to her because it's not what is happening. But what she's saying is actually what is happening. But instead, they debated because the truth she draws this truth from the real story. That is just it. Because it means that no leader in Aso Rock from Osinbajo to Tinubu has managed to create a system robust enough that a former student like Kemi Badenoch could be proud to recall. That is just it. Kemi Badenoch is saying this thing because it means that no leader in Aso Rock from Osinbajo to Tinubu has managed to create a system robust enough that a former student like Kemi would be proud to recall. If Kemi's school days was actually good in Nigeria, would she come out and be painting lies on it? What's the big deal? She remembers trauma because that's what the Nigerian state offered her. Imagine if Nigerian school was good, why would these politicians send their children abroad to study? When it comes to healthcare, why would they send their children and why would they go outside? Tinubu used to go. In fact, Tinubu went out. Why would the Buhari that said he died? He died in London. He went to London for to treat himself, and then he ended up dying there. Why will he go to London? Why didn't he go to Lagos, one hospital in Lagos or one hospital in Abuja? Why did he go that far to Lagos? So in his 8 years in Nigeria, he has not built any hospital that can, take good care of him, treat him well. You can see what is going on in Nigeria. If Nigerian schools were actually good, why would Nigerian government send their children to go, even from a little age, even from babies, to go, and finish their school there? Why? That's to tell you. Somebody said something. Victor, he said, let me show you. This is his own opinion. He said there is police brutality, racism, corruption everywhere. Yes, everywhere. It's actually everywhere. But in Nigeria, it is works. I don't know if this person is saying is everywhere as per it is everywhere in the country, or it is everywhere in the country, but in Nigeria it is worse. And the thing is, the government is doing nothing about it. That is what makes it even painful. That is what makes it painful. So now, anything you want to say, put it down under the comment section. Let's talk about it. Before we move further, let's talk about what okay, somebody said something. Let's look at it. The person said the world today, everybody wants peace. He said, in the world today, everybody wants peace and feel safe where you are. London is safe for her. No one, he said, okay, let me just start again. This person said, in the world today, everybody wants peace and feel safe where you are, where you feel safe where you are. London is safe for her. No war, no intimidation, no Bukaram. So life needs comforts. Okay. This person is saying that Kemi Badenoch is comfortable where she is, and Nigeria, in fact, London gave her what Nigeria couldn't, give her, even as a citizen in that country. That is what this person is trying to say. But what we are against is Kemi Badenoch coming to disown her country. That's our problem. That is the problem. That's it. So this is this person's opinion. Let me know your own opinion. Now, if you have not watched this video of El Rufai, attacking Kemi Badenoch, saying that what she's doing is not good, take a look.
A lot of Nigerians are ignorant of what Kemi is doing. What is Kemi doing? Kemi is subjugating her own people to make Britain look good in the face of white nationalists. It's a deliberate attempt. These white nationalists believed in colonialism. They believed that black people are subservient to them. These were the same people that sold black people in slave markets. So these white nationalists have a mentality. Kemi feeds into the mentality by doing something called confirmation bias, that the black people you subjugated over the years remain down. So it's good for her to say these things bad about her country, so that the white nationalists and the supremacists she's trying to incur her to get their votes will continue to support her. And you know why she's doing that? Because she's also in a race with Nigel Farage of Reform Party to show who is more very right-wing and hardline. That's the game she's playing. When she wanted Nigerians' vote in Dulwich, she reached out to the Nigerian people, but it's a political game she plays. So most of the percentage of Nigerian people that comment on this matter don't know what she's doing, and I'm trying to be able to bring it to the fore. And that's why she will make lies part of her statement. Things like, colonialism, I think she said one thing, we should even thank the British for colonialism or something, they should not pay reparation. I think she said that part of the
I remember some statements about reparation.
Yeah, she said the British should not pay reparation. After even the British themselves have accepted, because it's a thing among the white...
I think it was for what
right-wing nationalists want. They don't want to pay reparation. They think it's a good thing. And that's why a girl that lived in VI, a woman that grew up in VI, will be citing all sorts of instances. Like, we don't get knifed in the UK. There are places I can't go in the UK, Peckham. I know a lot of people there, but Aomo, Mamasha, the Peckham. See, you will get knifed, Audrey. The insecurity is crazy. The UK police she's talking about was not the UK police officer that raped somebody. What she will have said was to address the case of the UK police officer rather than coming back to the Nigerian police. I'm not saying, please, and you see the delusion a lot of people also have is, they get me wrong. They say, is Kemi not saying the truth? Yeah, the things are the truth. I'm not saying you don't speak the truth, but situate it properly. That's what Kemi is not doing. Secondly, she made another fallacy by saying she doesn't have anything in common with the North. She's a lying person. She lies too much. Go and check. Dr. Bati, you know a lot about languages. Are we now in the same Kwa language group? The Benue Congo Kwa language group? So according to language and language classification, you have something in common with them. Secondly, she also made another fallacy by saying, you can't say, okay, I'm directly Yoruba and not wanting to identify with Nigeria, because this is the country that bet you. Secondly, she also made another fallacy by saying the people of the North are our ethnic enemies. They are never our ethnic enemies. We don't have any ethnic enemies in this country. You might have disagreements with people from other parts of the country, even with your fellow Yorubas, but it doesn't mean you're ethnic enemies. And that's why I think the Nigerian government should write the British government about Kemi Badenoch. It is messages like this that spur a redentist and divisive nature. People like Lagospedia, these are the ones carrying this mantra. And they are spewing like happened in the last election. Because when you start to say things like this, you forget this was the same narrative they were spewing in the 60s during the Civil War, when the October massacre happened, when people were killed in Kano. This was the same narrative. So that incitement, and that's what we should write about. And lastly, please, nobody's saying Kemi should not point out our experiences, but we are saying situate it properly. Every nation in the world, if I'm to also write my experience about the UK, it's not that good. But she's not situating it properly because she wants to say these things to make the right-wing people love and support her for election gains. It's not my business if Kemi becomes prime minister or not. Agula Agutete, she will do a tenure or two and leave there in the end. But it's the damage she will have given and the way she will have emboldened people with all sorts of racial confirmation bias that I'm scared about in the country.
All right. Well.